we talked about the 10 general fitness skills. 4 of them biological, which are strength, stamina, endurance, and flexibility. Flexibility. Basically, this is your body getting fitter, getting stronger, being able to last longer, being able to have your heart supply energy to your body while you move, right? 4 of them are also the nervous system. These are between your ears, right? These are coordination. And I'm going to be referring to these over and over again as we go through this spiel. Agility, accuracy, and balance, right? And then we have the big 2, which are both biological and nervous system. In fact, all of these pushed together, we can get the most out of these 2, which are speed and power. Okay? A lot of times these 4 are categorized as the ones you can be improved with training, and these are the ones that can be improved with practice. Right? What's the difference between training and practice?
Practice is trying to get it right. Training is doing it right.
Yeah. Practice is like thinking while you're doing it, trying to think, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing different? What can I do better? What can I do differently? And trying to hone in on technique, right? Whereas a lot of times when you're only working on these and not doing these, you're just kind of turning your brain off for these things, right? What are the movements? Do we ever have movements that have only this and none of this? Those are really simplified movements. A lot of times you go into a regular normal gym, or before CrossFit was invented, a lot of times this was all there was. There was just really simple movements that you could do slowly and controlled, and you cannot do these movements wrong. I mean, you can make little changes, but they're really simple sort of movements, only focusing on these things, right? And by the way, most of this dialogue that I'm doing is what CrossFitters have said in the past. They're in the level 1 cert, Greg Glassman's speech. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the stuff that I've said, I quote him directly, perfectly, exactly, because I've listened to it so much. So a lot of the stuff that I'm sharing with you is not my own thinking. It's just what CrossFit has come up in the past with my thoughts kind of interjected into it. So and then the definition of CrossFit is what we talked about last time. The definition of CrossFit, what we're really going for, is constantly varied functional movements performed at high intensity. Okay? So we went into great detail with this one. We posted the video online as well if you want to go back and watch that. But constantly varied functional movements are movements at which require all 10 of these things, right? There's no simple movement that can't be done better and heavier and more efficiently with a functional movement instead, right? So instead of curling something up, we have the clean, which we could do more weight and more quickly. But the problem with the clean is it takes these things to it, right? It takes these things. And interestingly enough, women are the ones that seem to excel a little bit better more quickly and learn more quickly at these things. And in the regular gyms have kind of thrown those out completely. And so I could totally see why it's tough for women to feel, like they're growing as much doing these simple isolated barbell sort of or dumbbell motions without the stuff that they're more inclined to be and improve really well at. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just generally it's easier to teach a woman how to do a power clean than a man, right? And it's a man on average can curl more than a.
You listen better.
I think it's because you listen better. That's a great point, Lori. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about intensity, and this is the main subject of today: is intensity at odds with technique, right? Which one? I mean, which one's better, intensity or technique? And why? How do we deal with this problem where the faster we go, our technique seems to deteriorate and crumble, and then the better our technique goes, the more our intensity seems to go down, right? So intensity, one of the measurements of intensity, power is power. Power equals weight times distance divided by time, right? And one of the, on the test questions last time is, what is not a measure of intensity is not heart rate. And we're going to go into a little bit more of why that is not the case. Okay, let's talk about a graph here. And we're going to make a graph. And we're going to make energy expended, okay, or expressible energy, and then we'll say that on this line is the productive, graph lines, productive application of force, productive application of force. My spelling is always pretty bad. Okay? So we take any sort of thing, and let's say we're not producing very much, right? And we're expending a lot of energy. We're kind of up here, right? Think like if we had to go for 800 meters and we're like slithering there, right, on our bellies. Right? Are we getting a pretty good workout if we slither on our bellies on our 800 meter route? Like our heart rate might be really high, right? And we might be expending a lot of energy. And we're probably going to be using our core a whole lot, right? But if you take the most efficient runner, right, and you have them run 800 meters, right? They're not expending a lot of energy, yet they're producing a lot of force, right? And the difference in this is technique. Okay? Right? And what we really want to see with technique and the productive application of force, whether it's anything that we're trying to work on, whether it's typing or playing violin, or whether it's doing reps, right? We want to do it in this order, where we want to do our mechanics first, right? And then we want to make sure we can do it consistently with good mechanics, right? And then we want to up the intensity. And how do we up the intensity? With a movement, right? If you're running really, really well, how do we up the intensity? You run faster, right? What about a squat? We squat faster, or we do a push jerk faster with a PVC pipe until we reach that threshold point of not being able to do it well. And then what? And then we say, do it right at that faster speed until you can do it right at that faster speed. And then what do we say? Go faster. You guys kind of get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So let's say you're running with the absolutely perfect form ever, right? You're just running great, and you're feeling great. You run a little bit faster, still running great, a little bit faster, right? Now form's starting to fall apart. You try to fix these little form issues, right, until it's right, and then you keep moving up that ladder of form. So you can kind of see with this, like to get better at something, anything, right? Playing the guitar, typing, CrossFit, your power stance. It's got an innate need to be comfortable with failure, right? Being comfortable with being a little bit wrong, right? Being a little bit wrong. Let's say something like shooting, okay? Let's say we wanted to learn to shoot accurately and quickly, both, right? Because I could sit here and shoot perfectly and just really take my time, but I don't know if that would make me that much better, right? Is if I'm working on speed as well. Okay? Let's take Allison when she's typing something, right? But she can type 3,000 words a minute, but nothing's right. Useless, right? And then Lori over here is typing. She can type 10 words a minute, but everything's perfect. Which one of those is useful to me? Neither, right? So you need to slow down. You need to speed up and work on failing and then dialing in and failing out. So let's go back to the shooting example. Okay, so we'll take 10 bullets, and you've got to shoot these bullets as quickly as you can at a target, right? And we take this person right here, and all 10, pretty accurate, right in the middle. Okay? You take the next person, just all over the place, right? And then the next person over here, okay? 20% out the target, right? Which one of those could go faster? Should go faster? This one, right? This is a perfectionist. For a perfectionist, you show me somebody that never makes mistakes, I'll show you somebody that's not growing very quickly. That's not being able to is not learning and growing as fast as they can, right? What is this person? Sloppy. What do they need to do?
Slow down.
Slow down. This person is shooting right on the brink of their limits, right? And as soon as these bullets come inside the mark, what does that mean? That person needs to work on being faster, right? Until they go back. So, mechanics, consistently, intensity, working on push jerks. If I want to help somebody get better at push jerks, I would use that weight. They're doing it perfectly. Do it faster. Looks great, Lori. Do it faster. Or add more weight. Great. Do it faster. Add a little more weight. Ooh, something was off. Let's look at that. What was it? What was that thing? What was the weakness? How do we dial that in? That is as we improve the technique. So what is this going to take? This is going to take patience. It's going to take thinking. It's going to take kind of a person, or the inside of yourself to be able to know that being wrong or doing something wrong, failing, is not a bad thing, right?
Well, and that's something that I struggle with actually when I come to class is trying to figure out when I should increase my weight, and if I'm doing if I feel like I'm doing the maneuver correctly, then I don't know. I'm unsure if I should add more weight, or if this is an okay weight, or if I should push myself a little bit further.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, should you add weight? Should you push yourself a little bit more? And the interesting thing about CrossFit, I mean, that's a great point that you bring up. Here we have this constantly varied sort of, every day is going to be different. And so you could have the same movement on 3 different days, right? And you could have a workout, we talked about this on the first time, you could have a workout that's using the energy pathways at a 100%, that's only lasting, this is time, that's only lasting 10 seconds or less. So your absolute max deadlift, right? As opposed to the 2-minute time range. This peaks at 1 minute and it starts going down. What the weight that you would use at the 1 minute time point, and then the cardio, which is longer than 2 minutes, where you're just kind of maintaining. Like today's workout, was 4 or 5 minutes long, and then we get a 1 minute break, right? So my the way that I hold tension and the way that I breathe on my assault bike is going to be a lot different than the time and the tension that I hold on, on a shorter period of burst where I'm going hard for 10 seconds. So the same thing with the deadlift. So as we change the time domains, how we hold ourselves is all going to be similar in how we do type, but the intensity is going to be a little different, and breathing's all going to be different. I think that's a big part of technique. But if we're crumbling on any of these, then it's actually going to teach us a lot more when we're missing a little bit than if we're never missing on form. But we need to be thinking about those right? So Yeah, driving a car, doing CrossFit, playing a violin, shooting. Those are all part of it. And really, 80-20 is kind of the place to be where we want to improve, where we're looking at that 20% and we're trying to bring that up to 90 and then 100%. And then we're going faster or we're adding a little bit weight. 80-20 on all those different things. Crashing the car, missing the target, hitting the wrong note, faltering some on form is an ineluctable, unavoidable consequence of its development, right? And if you meet someone that never makes mistakes, they're not developing proficiency and they're not getting faster, right? So the answer is, the question is, do I want high intensity or do I want good technique? Both. We want both of them, right? You know that a couple things that Greg Glassman says in his speech. When I go out to dinner with Allison, right? Does she want me at the right place or at the right time? One without the other doesn't make any sense, right? Now, of course, if we have to work on technique first, the mechanics, and then consistently and intensity, I probably would say that. That's yeah, it's not really something that we invented. It's kind of how the universe works, and it's how to get better. And you can kind of use this as any part of the skills. So another thing about form is that it follows efficiency in the highest levels. You can kind of see it displayed. For example, if somebody was to do a world record workout, right, and like every rep didn't really look the same, like let's say it was Fran or something, and every workout didn't really look the same, every rep looked differently, and things weren't quite clicking right, and the hips weren't open, and it was looked a little bit sloppy, but it was a world record. What does that mean? It means that the world record could be better, right? It could, whatever, right? So form is gonna follow the best a lot of times, so we can learn it all. So, I mean, that's pretty much the main part today, is that technique and intensity, working on all that stuff, and yeah. Any questions?
I'm ready to go pick Mom up.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I think that's all I got for today.
You have it all.
Thanks for coming. Yeah.